Hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to another episode of Bougie Girl Cyber Happy Hour. We're having a night of encouragement on tonight. We have an amazing guest with us, Mr. Jason Montanez, and I want to give you a little background and information about him, but I want you to share this out. I want you to tag your friends, come into the room, say hello to us as we are going live right now. So I want to give you an opportunity to share this broadcast because we are live right now, and I want you all to just join this conversation, comment, say hello as you enter into the room. So tonight I have with me the amazing Jason Montanez. He is a self-proclaimed, undisputed world heavyweight champion of quitting. While consulting, Jason had an epiphany and identified that it's not so much about what one needs to do in order to realize success, but what one needs to quit that is preventing them from progressing. For this reason, he decided to start the Quitters Movement, which removes the negative connotation from the word quit. Quitting is a great thing when one is quitting the thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that are counterintuitive to success. Jason holds two BA degrees in communication and psychology from the University at Buffalo and an MBA with a concentration in leadership from Tiffin University. So, Bougie Girl Cyber Happy Hour audience, I want you all to welcome with me tonight Jason Montanez. Hello, Jason. How are you?
How you doing, Miranda? I'm well. How you doing?
I'm awesome. Thank you so much for being a part of this platform on tonight and sharing your story. So, with everything that's going on with COVID and everything, how are you and your family doing?
We're doing well. And first off, thanks for having me, Miranda. I'm definitely looking forward to our talk and discussion, and hopefully it'll help somebody or impact some people out there. As far as how the family's doing, we're doing well. We're doing well. We're making it through. Quarantining.
Yes.
For the most part, in 2020, we really haven't gotten anywhere. And every time we go somewhere, we mask up and we social distance, and we're doing everything necessary to prevent the spread of COVID-19. So we're blessed. We're healthy. So it's all good.
That's good. I'm glad to hear you and your family are well. So during this time, like you said, quarantining, right? And so we've had some downtime. What has this time taught you? Have you learned anything new about yourself, or has, God revealed some things to you about
Yeah.
What have you learned?
Well, I've learned that tomorrow's not promised, right? And you have to prepare. You have to stay prepared.
Right.
And also that you can't wait. You can't wait. Things can change in a moment's notice. At a drop of a dime, things can change. And if anything, this has taught me that God is in control. God is in control of everything.
For sure.
And to ensure that you have a solid foundation, that your house is on a solid foundation. Because I don't know if in my lifetime I've ever seen anything like this.
Right.
And what the word says, that if your house is built upon a solid rock, right, it'll withstand anything that gets thrown at it, the wind, water, whatever. So I hope that everybody during this time has taken the opportunity to reassess their foundation and look at that foundation and see if there's any cracks in their foundation, because this time gave us the ability to really look ourselves in the mirror and reassess our situations, right? So that's really what I've learned.
That is so good. I mean, it's time to reevaluate, look at the cracks in our foundation, and figure out where we need to make some adjustments, right? Where do we need to build and to do better? So what are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for health. I'm grateful for my family. I'll be 40 on Sunday, my 40th birthday. And thank you. I've been doing a lot of reflecting. And as I look back on my first 40 years, I say, okay, what was the difference between me and how did I turn out the way that I turned out?
Right.
And it's God. It's God first and foremost. It's having a family that gave me that solid foundation in God and Jesus Christ specifically. And then the second was family, having that support system, that people to encourage you, to motivate you, to inspire you,
Right.
having really positive role models, male role models. I had
Right.
women role models, but growing up as a minority male in New York, it's very important to have strong minority male role models and figures, and I was blessed to have that. So, yeah.
So, who were some of the major role models that impacted your life? I know you said you had some male role models, and I know that's really important for young men, like you said, minority men, to have role models. Who were some of the role models that impacted your life?
Well, first and foremost, my father, right?
Yeah.
So my father, we always joke around because my pops, I don't know if and he's probably watching too, but I don't know if he's ever given me a physical gift in my life, right?
Wow.
Because he always, and he's a man of God, and he's he's very studious in the word, and
Mhm.
he says that me and your mother are one. So anything that she gives you, I give you as well. So that's
Okay.
how I got out of it, right? But, but he gave me the best gift, the gift of Christ. He gave me the word,
That's
And
awesome.
at the time when I was growing up, I didn't want to hear that, right?
Right.
I just want to go out, have some fun with my friends,
Exactly.
and that was it. So that was my first role model. Then I had my uncle. My uncle Roland was a very positive influence in my life, detective.
Oh, wow.
And then I had football coaches. I had football because I played football. Uh,
Right.
my football coaches were tremendous role models, all the way from junior high school all the way up into college. I had some really good coaches that
Right.
were mentors and role models.
That's so awesome. And you need those type of people in your lives to help build, and help you to have those tools that you need to be a better person, as you're growing into a young man. So with all those role models and all those wonderful tools that you receive, what makes you uniquely Jason?
Uh, what makes me uniquely Jason? I I bring a lot of passion,
Mhm.
my positivity, my passion, um, my humility, um, self reflection makes me uniquely Jason.
That's awesome.
I've been blessed with an ability to look myself in the mirror and be honest,
Right.
and assess my situation and
Mhm.
make the necessary changes in order for me to uh, walk the narrow path.
Right.
If that makes sense, right? Because there's the broad path. Everybody's gonna follow that path.
Right.
I follow I follow the narrow path, and I'm somebody that uh, I was never somebody that what's it called, peer pressure. Somebody could peer pressure me to do something. I was always myself. And
Right.
if people didn't like it, then I didn't really care. People
You
like
weren't a follower.
I wasn't a follower. Leadership.
Right, you're a leader,
Yeah.
and that's where you are today. A proponent of leadership. You are one of the top pioneers in the leadership game, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. So, if you all are just now joining us, I am talking to Jason Montanez, and we're talking about his quitters movement. We're going to get a little more into that. So, I know you mentioned growing up in New York. I can hear the accent is still there after all. How long have you been away from New York, or have you?
I left New York in 2004.
Okay,
So 16 years out of New York.
and that
But,
accent is still
but
there. Still.
listen, I used to go to New York probably 2 or 3 times a year.
Mhm.
This is the first year in 16 years that I have not been to New York, and it's killing me because
Oh,
when I go to New York, it's kind of like a shot in my arm. Like I get reinvigorated. My hustle goes to 10. Every time I land in New York, my wife is like, "Oh my God, it's like you got a battery in your back." I said, "Yeah, this is just the hustle, you know." And then I'm in Houston now, so when I fly back, I'm just ready to go.
Right. So what is it about that energy? I mean, like you said, that you get that injection, you get that hustle back. What is it about your background and you growing up in New York that has embedded that in you? So when you go home, it's just such a great reminder for you.
Well, it's a hustle, right? So New York is a hustle, and everybody is trying to make it, and the competition, it's so competitive in New York, right? Because not only are you competing to make sure that you have a job to provide for your family and everything like that, you also I've been blessed to have friends where it's a healthy competition, right? We compete and we try to take ourselves to the next level. Um,
Okay.
and that really is what it is. And fit nobody wants to fail, right? So
Right.
when you're in that environment,
Mhm.
one, you can't show weakness, and
Mm,
two, you don't want to fail.
right.
So if you don't want to show any weakness, that means you got to always be on your game. You always got to be on point.
Right.
And then the competitiveness inside,
Right.
you don't want to fail,
Right.
right? Because you don't want to be looked at or seen as somebody that is less than or insufficient in any way. So yeah, New York is like an ultra competition. Anybody that lives in New York knows exactly what I'm talking about. You got to have the flyest gear. You got to have the flyest sneakers. You got to have the flyest car. It's like uber competitive.
So let's get into that. You grew up in New York. Tell us a little bit about your story and your background. So did that make you want to work harder as far as maybe getting a job or something like that? Or your career had to be like this ultra high level career in order to have those things so you can look not like a failure.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
So New York is in my blood. I'm a New
Where in New
Yorker.
York did you grow up?
So grew up in Brooklyn, New York.
Mhm.
For the first 6 years. Then I moved. My family had the foresight, and this is something that maybe we could get into later. My parents, so my first 6 years of my life, born in Queens, grew up in Brooklyn for 6 years, and then my family moved to Spring Valley, New York, which is in Rockland County. So it's a suburb of New York, probably 20 something miles outside of Manhattan.
Okay.
And and while I was growing up in New York, like I said, it's in my blood,
Yeah.
right? So that drive,
Right.
um, I have the ability to talk to anybody. I'm not scared of title. I'm not scared of stature. I'm not scared to, oftentimes, people don't go for what they really want in life because they're apprehensive
Mhm.
to go talk to somebody or
Right.
initiate a conversation with somebody. And that's why I feel so my foundation from a corporate job is in sales, right?
Right.
I have a customer service, I have leadership, I have sales background.
Mhm.
And it's really that environment that taught me how to be personable, how to
Right.
speak, you know? And that is really what has helped me and really pushed me to get to that level.
Right. And so, learning how to communicate. So when you moved to that neighborhood, you said outside of Manhattan, was
Mhm.
that like a safer neighborhood? Your mom and dad wanted you to be in a safer neighborhood, a better school district and stuff like that?
Without a doubt, without a
Right.
doubt, and both my parents from Brooklyn, New York, born and raised. My mother is Haitian from Haiti,
Hmm.
from Haitian immigrants, and my dad is Puerto Rican.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, both grew up in Brooklyn. And when I have a sister, I have a younger sister. When my sister was born, so 2 years after my sister was born, we moved to Spring Valley in Rockland County. And it was because of their vision and their foresight that said, you know what, we're going to move out of Brooklyn,
Right.
and, you know, better school district, suburbs, so our children can have a better life.
Right. And I know you mentioned that foresight. So let's get into it. So you were talking about the foresight to move you forward. How did that really impact your life then? Because, a lot of times, our parents want to do that for us. We move to a better neighborhood so we can be in a better school district, so we can have a better and a safer environment. So how did that foresight, impact you as you're going on along your journey, going into college and different things like that?
Well, like I said, that, my parents were my foundation.
Mhm.
They inspired me, they motivated me. And then at the age of 12, I fell in love with the game of football.
Okay.
And it was at that time that all I wanted to do was play football. I was talking to my wife the other day, and I said, I don't know, if it wasn't for the game of football, I don't know if I would have went to college, because that's all I wanted to do was play football and make it
Right.
to the NFL. And
Right.
all my educational accolades and everything like
Right.
that is a byproduct of my love for the game of football. And it's taught me so much, that particular game, right?
Right.
So I can attest, as I look back on my life, it's that foundation in Christ that my
Right.
dad taught me. Then it's family,
Mhm.
it's football that
Yeah.
inspired
That
me.
community.
And then Twinkle in there, New York, that gave me that hustle
Yeah.
and that drive and all that other good stuff to take it to the next level.
Right. So what would you go back and tell your 17, 18-year-old self, now that you've accomplished these things, you've made some strides in your life, you're a grown man, you have a family. What would you go back and tell that young man in New York?
Save up, man. I'll say I would tell my 17-year-old self, stack your chips right now.
And why
Right?
would you tell him that?
Why would I tell him that? Because I didn't understand the concept of compounding.
Mm,
Right? So it was I started saving and investing at 2. So I was 23 years old, right? So 17, 18 years old, that means I would have had 5, 6 more years of investing and compounding,
right.
right? So this is something I'm teaching our children, right now. Like,
Okay.
I'm teaching them compounding, right?
Right.
All my son wants to do is buy PlayStation VC
Right.
bucks or whatever. I'm
Right.
like, dude, you have to save, and
Right.
let me show you these accounts and how your money will work for you.
Right.
You know?
Right. And that's something that's, so important, especially with minorities, learning how to save and invest and
Yeah.
those type of things, and, leaving that legacy for your children, so you will know. So do you feel like now that were you able to catch up? I know you said those were 7 or 8 years, but were you able to play catch up, or are
I
you
mean,
just still just doing whatever?
you'll never know if you were able to catch up, right? But I'm doing okay now. I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right.
Okay, so have you ever had a time in your life, because you started this, you say you're the undisputed heavyweight champion of quitting. Tell
Yep.
us a little bit more about this movement.
Yeah, so the quitting movement, all my life, and like I told you, I played football. All my life as an athlete, we were told not to quit.
Right.
Quitting is for losers, and losers, always quit. So I said, you know what? I was consulting. I have a leadership consulting business. I was
Right.
consulting, and one of my clients, I was talking to one of their employees,
Hmm.
and oftentimes people ask me, Jason, what do I have to do in order to be successful?
Right.
And as I'm talking and having a conversation, I had a epiphany, light bulb went off.
Right.
I said, there's nothing that I can tell this person to do to help them. I got to tell them what they need to quit, right?
Mhm.
So at that point, the quitting movement was birthed. I started jotting down the things that I had to quit in order to get to a level where I'm at right now.
Okay.
I also started jotting down things that I've observed,
Okay.
because a wise man learns from others'
From
mistakes. Smart
right.
man learns from his mistakes.
Sure.
So I put all this, I started journaling, and I put this all together into my book.
Right.
And I wanted to change the negative connotation and the negative narrative that's associated with the word quit.
Right.
As I reflect on my life, it's nothing that I did. It's really more what I quit doing that made me successful.
Okay. So give us some examples. Like, what did you quit doing? I know we want them to buy the book, so we're going to talk about that, where they can purchase the book. But give us some examples. Like, what are some of those things that you quit in order to help you get to where you are today?
I had to quit being impatient.
Mm.
Right. I had to operate in a level of what I call urgent patience.
Mm.
And what that basically means is
Mm.
that you have to act with a sense of urgency, like
Right.
tomorrow's not promised, but you also have to realize and understand that, good things take time, right?
Right.
You gotta plant the seed, and trees and flowers and everything, they don't just spring up overnight, right?
Right.
So you have to operate this with this sense of urgency.
Sure.
But you got to be patient at the same time. Another thing I had to quit was I had to quit drinking. I had to quit drinking alcohol so much.
Okay.
Something that, in order to be healthy, in order to be successful, you got to be healthy. You have
Right.
to be around. You have
Right.
to be in the right frame of mind, and
Sure.
you can't have mind altering substances if you want to be successful, right?
That's true.
So I had to quit the alcohol. So now let me put an asterisk. I still drink a little alcohol, wine, everything from now and again, but I was going hard. I was going hard. Quit acting, quit the lack of self-control.
Sure.
Right?
Wow.
You have to operate with self-control.
Right.
Quit not forgiving people. Right? So how you gonna ask for forgiveness if you're not willing to forgive people?
That's true.
Quit beating up yourself. Quit living up in the past. There's
That's
nothing
good.
that you can change about the past. Quit looking in the rearview mirror.
Right.
There's a
Right.
reason why the rearview mirror is small and the windshield's big.
Right. Stop
And
focusing on what didn't happen.
as you keep on driving, the stuff in the rear view gets smaller and smaller and smaller. They eventually disappear.
Right.
So those are some of the things I had to quit. I wrote 99 of them in my book. And what's funny is after I wrote 99, I was like, man, I left some out. It was actually more than 99.
He was like, I wrote 99, and this is where you can get the book. So www.99thingstoquit.com, correct? So, these are things that we need to start quitting, not being able to forgive and not being able to, looking in the past. Stop looking in the past, because again, we can't change the past. So that's some really good information. And if you all are just now joining us, I'm speaking to Jason Montanez. He is the undisputed heavyweight champion of quitting. We're talking about his movement, Quitters Movement. Thank you so much for joining. Share this out, tag your friends, and comment, and let us know what you think about this conversation. If you have questions for Jason, please put the questions up, and this is the link to where you can get the book. He said he listed 99 things to quit. So you may want to go get the book and see what he's talking about. So have you ever, literally, quitting is a negative connotation. We always tell our kids, don't quit, don't quit.
Mm-hmm.
But you're telling us to quit some things. Have you ever actually quit, something? Have you ever looked back or regretted, I quit and I wish I would not have? Not talking about your movement, but just quitting. Like, I quit that job and I shouldn't have, or I gave up too soon on this situation.
Yeah. The one thing that I feel that I may have quit too soon was pursuing football. Because when I was in college, right before my pro day. Pro day is where you run for all the scouts and everything.
Right.
And I had tore my hamstring.
Oh,
And
wow.
that was probably the most devastating that I've ever been, because I worked so hard to get to the level that I was in.
Right.
And I went into a depression, and that's where the drinking started, to be honest with you.
Right.
And it was at that time where I was just like, man, I kind of got mad at God, right? Because I prayed and I was working hard and I was the best shape. But I was like, how can you do this to me, man? You know? And at that point, I just said, you know what? It's just not for me. I'm gonna get me a job. I wrote a letter to my agent. Things weren't happening the way as fast as I wanted it to happen.
Right.
He was telling me that, listen, we got to work out in November. Keep working out, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But being a naive 21, 22-year-old, I said, nah. I wrote him a letter. I got angry at him, wrote him a letter, said, you're fired. I thought I was a big boss. You're fired. He was like, okay, whatever. Yeah, so that's probably one thing I wish I would have pursued maybe another year or two.
Okay. So, but even though that it didn't work out, this, all things work together for the good, right? There was a reason for that. There was a reason. And I know, like you said, that was so good that you mentioned, we get mad at God when things don't go the way we want them to go. It's like, God, really? This is what you're doing? This is what's happening? But then, God has another plan for us. He has a better opportunity for you. And so now you're with the Quitters movement.
Mm-hmm.
And you've also written another book. It's called Lead, Sell, and Care. I know you mentioned earlier that you were in sales, and that's part of your career path. Tell us a little bit more about your book, Lead, Sell, Care.
Yeah, so Lead, Sell, Care, as easy as 1, 2, 3. That was my first book, and
Right.
that was birthed from a poor leadership experience that I had.
Okay.
And I said, whenever you have a poor experience, there are two things you can do. You can complain about it, or you can channel that energy for the good. So I decided to channel it for the good. Mm-hmm. And I started jotting down, because the way I felt was, if I'm experiencing something like this, I'm pretty sure there are other people that are experiencing the same thing. So when I looked at it, I said, there are 3 things that you have to do very, very well, high level, if you want to be successful in business and in life. You have to lead, so you have to have the ability to influence people. Now, leadership, it doesn't go by title. It doesn't matter how many people you influence. So I'm a firm believer that anybody can be a leader as long as you're influencing somebody. Now, it could be good leadership and bad leadership too. So if you're influencing somebody to do bad, that's leadership, right? You have to sell, right? So you're going to have to be able to sell a product, service, or yourself. So you got to be able to sell. Right. And lastly, you got to care. Right? Because there's an adage that people don't care what you know until they know that you care. Right? So that being said, you also have to operate in a place of self-care as well. Now, what I mean by that is that if you come across in life as somebody that you really don't care about yourself, or you don't care about others, etc., that is going to be a huge deterrent for what is in store for you, right? So I call it the common denominator of a successful life and a successful business, and that's basically what that book is about.
Right. And what do you want people to learn from that? What do you want them to take away? If they decide, I want to read this book because I want to be a better leader, I want to be a better person. What do you expect for them to take from this book?
Well, I will want them to take that, to focus on those 3 aspects. Mm-hmm. Because oftentimes people lose focus, and they want to put their energy and resources in marketing. They want to put their energy and resources in research and development. They want to put their energy and resources into hiring, people, just hiring a whole bunch of people.
Right.
When at the end of the day, if you look at any successful business, it's leadership, sales, and care. Focus on those three things. Get really, really good at those three things, and I guarantee you're going to have a successful business.
Right. So, I know, like you said, people focus so much nowadays on marketing. How can this book really help entrepreneurs right now and people who are on maybe social media? Can this formula work for them as well?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, nowadays with social media, you have the ability to reach an audience and gain access to people that you wouldn't not had been able to years ago, right? So, going from the leadership and influence perspective, if you care about your image and everything like that, you'll be able to showcase what you're doing on a social media platform. And here's the thing. We're basically at a point, if it's not on social media, it's not real.
Right.
And that's one of my quits though. Quit thinking everything on social media is real, right? Because oftentimes people just put up highlight reels and it's really not real. But here's the thing. People think everything that's posted on social media is real.
Right.
I laugh because one time me and my wife, we were at the nail salon and they had a picture of the Mona Lisa.
Right.
And I took a flick and I said, I'm in Italy. And everybody was like, oh my God, Italy's so nice. And I'm like, yeah, I wish I was there and everything. I'm like, yo, I'm in the nail salon right here. But check this out though. One person caught it. The Mona Lisa is not in Italy. The Mona Lisa is in Paris.
Oh, see? So they just go by what you're saying, and you could just post something and just be like, look, this is where I am, this is what's going on, and people are going to believe it. But you know what? It's all a facade. Like you said, the highlight reels, we want to post things that, we want people to think that's really going on, and that's not really the case.
But social media, I'm sorry for
Go ahead.
But social media, it's a great place to influence, do things the right way, a great place to sell.
Right.
You can literally run a campaign and reach hundreds of thousands of people at a click, So.
And it's a great place for your business, your platform, selling, like you said, with your books and, doing interviews like this. Is a great place to get out information and resources. So what sets your book apart from other leadership books? Because I have people on here who have their own businesses. So what sets your book apart? Why should they go out and purchase this book?
It's simple. Lead Self-Care is very, very simple. It gives a very pragmatic, simple way to apply what you learned right away. Oftentimes people they don't look to read books because they're huge. I believe Lead Self-Care is only like 116 pages.
Okay.
So it's a very easy and a very quick read where people can actually apply what they are reading instantly as soon as they read it. And that's really what separates it, from
leadership books. Right. So where can they purchase this book?
Well, you can purchase that book on Amazon.
Okay.
I self-publish both of my books via Amazon. So just type my name, Jason B as in boy, Montanez, just like how it is on that screen.
And that's how it is on the screen. So just type his name in Amazon and go buy the book Lead Self-Care, as easy as 1, 2, 3. And it will help you with your business and just being a better overall entrepreneur person. So I know that, the book, I Got 99 Problems or 99 Things and Giving Up Is Not One, the Quitter's book that we talked about earlier. You have it broken down into 3 parts, like thoughts, feelings, and behavior. Talk to us a little bit why you broke it down into those parts and why are they significant?
Yeah, so I broke it down into those 3 parts. As you can see, I like the number 3, right? When I set goals for myself, it's in 3s, right?
Okay. And why is that significant? Why is the number 3 significant for you?
It's simple. So just when I set my goals, I make sure I set 3 goals for myself each and every year. But I make sure that those goals, I have to, they're very significant goals. That's going to require me, that's going to push me, etc. People, so oftentimes we put all these goals in front and then we don't feel like we accomplish anything. So when you put 3 goals up, you've got the first one, you cross that out, that makes you feel like you accomplished something, right? So that gives you inspiration and motivation to go to number 2 once you get to number 2, right? So thoughts, feelings, behaviors. So at the end of the day, the way we think, is the foundation for everything.
Right.
So we're in a constant battle where we have a good angel here and we got the devil here. Everybody got it.
Right.
Everybody has it. All right. We're human.
Right.
So what we have to have the ability to do is to say, get out of here.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Definitely.
So the positive thoughts have to overrule the negative thoughts. So that's the foundation, right?
Right.
Now that thought will turn into a feeling.
Right.
Right. So what you think is how you're going to feel.
Right.
Now, oftentimes our behaviors, how we act, is a result of how we feel at the time.
Right.
And that's why I broke it down to those 3 things. Because oftentimes, we feel some type of way, we make rash judgments, rash decisions based off of the feeling we had, and then we look back and say, man, I shouldn't have done that.
Right.
Based off of a feeling.
Right, exactly.
Then after that, I added to the people as well. So thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and sometimes people. Because just like I'm pretty sure you heard the adage, a product of my environment, etc.
Right.
People are products of the company that they keep.
Right.
Birds of a feather flock together.
Right.
Right. So you have to really do an assessment. You really have to take inventory.
Right.
And, see what people have expiration dates.
That's good. So it's time to, like how people talk about detoxing their social media or getting rid of people because, there may be weight or baggage and it's not allowing them to be their best self. So do you talk more about that in the book as far as, like you said, letting go of people and situations and different things like that?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I talk about, experiences that I had, oftentimes, there's been cases where, I got to say goodbye to family members,
Yeah.
You have to, quitting is a lonely place. It really is. It's a lonely place.
And why is that?
Because you're going to lose a lot of people,
Okay.
right? A lot of times people don't quit people or thoughts, feelings, behaviors because they're scared to lose people. Because if I don't act a certain way, if I don't do this, if I change or whatever, people will say, oh, you changed. No, I'm a better person. I quit the thoughts, feelings, behaviors that are counterintuitive to my success and me being a better version of myself.
Right.
Because oftentimes when you don't do the same things or act the same way, or you're not buying bottles in the club anymore, they say, oh, you changed. Nah, I didn't change. I just smarted up.
That's good. That's good. So I know you have a leadership academy. I believe you started your own leadership company. You have the Catapult Leadership Group. That supports businesses in the Houston area. So talk to us a little bit more about that and why you created that leadership company.
Yeah. So the Catapult Leadership, launching the leader within you. That's my tagline. And the reason why, because I feel that everybody has leadership capabilities. Some people are born with leadership, right? And some people, it can be taught. It can be taught. And the foundation of the Catapult Leadership Group is lead, sell, care. And that's, so I provide consulting, both executive coaching and consulting with the foundational elements of lead cell care based upon my first book. And, I do speaking engagements as well as consulting via that platform.
So how does your consulting support the businesses? Like, what are you sharing with them as far as like when they reach out to you, what are they seeking or what are they looking for?
Yeah, so it could be a couple of things, right? So it could be if their employees are apathetic, they're trying to find a way to inspire, motivate, develop employees. I do development exercises. I do team building exercises. If a company's sales team is in need of help, of really thinking of fresh new ideas, how to attack the market and gain market share. I do an assessment to see, what exactly they're doing to attack that. And then from a customer service and a customer care perspective, right? It all ties in to this lead cell care concept and methodology. So are you retaining your customers? What are you doing to wow your customers, right? What are you doing to ensure that your customers have a world-class customer experience and they are loyal to your brand, not just satisfied with your brand, but loyal to your brand, where they're going to recommend a family member, a friend. And even if there's a competitor that has a lower price, they're still going to come to you.
That's good. That's really good information. Like you said, even if they have a lower price, why are they going to still come to you and your price may be higher, twice as high or something like that? So that's really good information.
Exactly.
So when you so you've had conferences and different things like that. So what do you share? Is this the same type of information you share at your conferences, or how are your conferences different from other conferences?
Well, it's all dependent on what the conference goal is. I really pride myself on the fact that what I do is not cookie cutter. It's all customized to the client. So it starts off with a consultation and trying to figure out what their goals are and what they're trying to accomplish. And then I tailor make it for that specific client with the foundation of lead cell care. I mean, I have over 20 years of corporate experience that really fuel that lead cell care.
Right. And I know you were talking about you tailor-made the conferences. Talk to us about the last conference that you had.
Well, the last conference I did was pre-COVID. That was actually, I believe it was in February. It was the Young Millionaires conference here in Houston, Texas. My good friends and clients, Stephen and Sterling Carter, they held the Young Millionaires conference. So that's the last one that I did in February of this year.
That's awesome. And you talked about the lead care sale.
Yeah.
Okay.
About lead cell care.
And what were you saying? I'm sorry. Were you saying something?
We did lead cell care.
Okay. So that's awesome. So what was that conference about? Can you tell us a little bit about your role, or how did you play a role in that conference? Or
yeah, so I was a speaker. I was one of the speakers in that conference, the Young Millionaires Conference. It was started by Stephen and Sterling.
Right.
And they're the owners of Sterling Physical Therapy and Sterling Staffing Solutions. And it was their way of giving back to young entrepreneurs that are trying to take their business to the next level. And there were a wide variety of speakers to motivate, to inspire, and also to develop. Right? It was a day-long conference that was intended to develop and inspire and kind of give a push to the young entrepreneurs in Houston. Okay.
That's awesome. It sounds like it was a great experience. So what do you enjoy most about what you do as a leadership? You put on all of these conferences, you are a leader in the game. So what do you enjoy most about what you do?
Impacting people. When you're talking to somebody and they have an aha moment and that light bulb goes off, and they say, I really didn't think of things that way.
Right.
And then it's pragmatic where they can apply it as soon as they get back to the office, as soon as they get back to work. That's what really drives me and fuels me. And then when I get emails and I get, DMs, or I get text messages that say, listen, this is really helping me and this is taking my business to the next level. That's what it's all about.
Right. And is your coaching business, is it the same thing as what you teach at your conferences, or is your coaching a little bit different?
Well, my coaching is a little bit different in it's really more specific to my client. At conferences, the topic could be a little bit more broad, but when I'm coaching a client,
right,
or a client's team, we are locked in. We are more specific in what we're talking about in the goals that we're trying to accomplish.
right, more personal.
Oh yeah.
Right. So what's next for Jason? What do you have coming up in the year 2021? I know maybe you're getting out there a little bit more. So what do you have going on?
Well, 2021, I'm gonna make it a point to get on social media more, and really leverage that platform, both Facebook and Instagram. And I think what's next is one thing that I've learned from this pandemic as well is, being virtual is a good thing, right? I really don't have to rely on conferences and everything like that. Right now, I'm developing an online course,
Okay.
really to help people quit the thoughts, feelings, behaviors,
Right.
sometimes people, and give them a roadmap and an outline, a movement,
Right.
people to come to and be open,
Right.
and feel safe that they're not the only ones going through it,
Right.
and be a support system for people on their quitting journey. Because I tell you, as I look back on my first 40 years, it's all what I quit. It's all what I quit. There's nothing that I did different that differentiated myself. I quit a thought, a feeling, a behavior, or a person. And that is what catapulted me and propelled me to the next level.
And that's awesome. So if we quit that thought, feeling, behavior, or person, we can catapult and move to the next level. Is there any last words or any encouragement that you would like to share with our audience before we leave this conversation?
I just want to tell everybody to make sure that they have a good, solid foundation. Good, solid foundation. The sun is going to rise tomorrow. You can get through anything. You can get through anything. It may not be on your time, but you will get through it. The sun is going to come out. Oftentimes, you can't get a rainbow without the rain. So stay strong, stay encouraged, and quit the thoughts, the feelings, the behaviors, and the people that are holding you back and that are counterintuitive to your success.
Wow, that was so awesome. Thank you so much, Jason. You are a blessing. Thank you for this time and this conversation. If you all want to purchase his books, please type in his name on Amazon, Jason B. Montanez, and you can find his books about the Quitters movement. And give us the names of your books one more time.
So first book is Lead, Sell, Care, as easy as 1, 2, 3. And my last book that I wrote is I've Got 99 Things to Quit and Giving Up is One.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you all so much. If you missed any part of this, please go back and watch the replay. Share this out with your entrepreneur friends, those who are trying to become better leaders, better people, better, just employees or business owners. So please share this interview. You all have a blessed, great weekend, a great holiday season with your families. Wear your mask, stay safe, do your social distancing, and You know what? I'm praying for you all. Have a blessed evening and weekend. Thank you so much for joining us and have a great night. Bye, everyone.